I know what it's like to lose. The dark side of YouTube, trying so desperate to be likeable and relatable, but they fail nonetheless. It's frightening. It turns the legs to jelly. To what end, I ask you? Dread it? Run from it? But destiny arrives all the same. And now it's here. Or should I say, I am. What is up, guys? So, Darkside Sunday already. That's flown by, hasn't it? That week has disappeared faster than Scotty G's teeth over the years. But you all know what I do on a Sunday. I like to have a little bit of a roundup, just, have a bit of a laugh, talk about what's been going on the dark side of YouTube. And I'm going to play a little game at the end called True or False, talking about Brian Cockrell. Let's just have a bit of a laugh with it. And before I start, I just want to say I'll be putting up a GoFundMe later because, well, it's Christmas, isn't it? So, seeing as I do YouTube, then I'm entitled to loads of money off everyone. So I'll be putting up a GoFundMe so you can give generously, and I can just buy loads of Coke and buy some weed, get drunk, and just, all at your expense. So yeah, please give generously. So the big news of the week: Brett May is out. He has a bust case, as he likes to say, which means that he's either got not guilty or got it dismissed. Apparently Decca's out as well. I don't know if that's true, but I heard that Decca's out and he's not allowed on YouTube because of his last charge, malicious communication. He was preaching hate online, I think, and obviously it wasn't his fault. It was everybody else's fault, probably the trolls. He never does anything wrong, which is why he's always in prison. But yeah, apparently he's out and he's not allowed online. But Brett May's out and he is looking hench. Jesus, he looked like Duffman from The Simpsons. It looks like he's been doing some press-ups in his cell. Looks like he's been pumped up with a bike pump. But yeah, he's looking hench. Apparently he dosed up Decca, give him a 3-piece in prison. Bosh, Black and Decca. And I don't know if that happened. I wouldn't be surprised either way, because Brett is a problem, in prison. He's a big violent lump. I've done jail with him before. He got starred up for being violent, so it's the type of thing what he would do. But, it's fair to say that in the past he has stretched the truth a few times. So, I don't know if he did or didn't. I hope he did. And he is the type of dude to do that. So we'll see. But yeah, he's out from prison. He's going to be feeding the homeless in Doncaster, doing some good content. I really hope he does, because I like watching his videos. I think he's an interesting dude, and he has got YouTube in the palm of his hand. Everybody's making videos about him, and he is funny. His videos are funny. I don't even know if he knows how funny he is. I think he does, but I always remember one video what he did. I was laughing my head off. He was raging in the back and forth with Paul Venice, and he's always got his top off, and he was raging about Paul, and as he was shouting, I don't know what they called. Is it your pecs or your titty muscles? And he was there raging, and his tits were going bump, 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 bump. It was, when they do that dancing peck thing, he was doing that with his titties, and I was just laughing me head off. So yeah, we'll see how long he can stay out. I've got to say I'm sceptical, because trouble just seems to find him. Every time he gets out, he's only a couple of weeks before he's back in. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does on YouTube. Feeding the homeless. Now I go through Doncaster homeless. I go through Doncaster every morning and see the homeless on my bike. There's not actually that many there now. There's only about 20, and they're there laid up in the doorways, in the sleeping bags. In this weather, man, it's terrible. So I hope he does put out some good content. Me personally, I'd just give them money. They don't care about food. They want to go and buy a bag or some beer. So just give them some money. But anyway, that's Brett. He's out. Dr. Ratpull, Dr. Fatskull, he has been getting some heat on YouTube. It's about time, really. Now, I'm kind of disappointed because he's not taking it very well. He's kind of like coming across as a big baby. And listen, if you're making videos every day, calling people out, calling people names, and he calls people wrong-uns and everything. When he was arguing with the sheriff, he was saying he was into minors and going meeting minors, and You know, for me, that's too far. I don't think you should call people wrong-uns unless you definitely are, you know, and you've seen the proof. But that's where he goes every day. And when you're doing that, there's going to come a point when somebody does it to you, and that's what's happening. And Karma Corner's been putting it on him, and he's not handled it very well. And I've noticed with Rackpool, what he does is he always tags bigger names, you know, like before it was with Decker. He's doing it now with Brian Harvey, who, Jesus Christ, that Brian Harvey, he never stops moaning, does it? But yeah, I remember the first time I saw Rackpool acting like a big baby. It reminds me of one of those, you know, those adults what dress as babies with a bald head and a big nappy on. It reminds me of one of them. But yeah, I remember ages ago when I first saw him acting like a big baby. He was on one of Decker's lives. You know, he was talking crap about him, but then as soon as he said, "Come on a live," he was like, "Okay." And he jumped on his live, and what was he saying now? He was like in the background telling his life story, you know, being real serious. And Decker just wasn't interested. He just wasn't listening. And Decker was like, "Oh, is that you, Jim?" While Rackpool's in the background giving his life story. And then someone more important came on, and he just kicked Rackpool off and put this other guy on halfway through his story. So Rackpool was fuming for about a week after it. He was crying, and you know, and I even said in the comments, if I remember back, I said to him, I said, "Oh, Decker's broke your heart there, hasn't he, Rackpool?" It was devastating. But, you know, if you're on YouTube and you're taking a piss out of people, you've got to be able to take it, you know. So I'm a little bit disappointed in him. But he does make me laugh, old Rackpool. And now he's teaming up with the most boring man on YouTube, JDP. So, you know, it's a power team. You've got Dr. Rackpool with his comedy, with his impressions, you know, with his good personality. And then you've got JDP, who... offers nothing really. But yeah, JDP, I thought he'd been run off YouTube. I wasn't going to say out about him this week, but then I saw a video of him talking down to everyone. You know, he was arguing with, I don't think he's supposed to be fighting anyone this week, which is a surprise, but he's been back and forth with Jimmy Newman, and he's been getting into it with Andragone and somebody else. I can't remember who else. But he does the same thing, JDP. He like regurgitates the same arguments, and all he ever says is, "Who cares what you think? You're a baghead. Who cares what you think? You wear a dress." You know, so... But you might not know this about JDP, but I've actually done a bit of jail with JDP. I remember he came in, and he used to sit on the Muppet table, and every exercise, like when you go out on the yard, he used to wear a pair of goalie gloves. I used to think, what is he doing? Him and this other kid. And when people walking around the yard smoking, they'd flick the dimp, and JDP used to dive and catch it with his goalie gloves on. And he was always arguing with this other kid, because they was both always like swooping for dimps on the yard. And everybody used to call him Swoop Doggy Dog and 50 dimps. But then he got out, and I've not seen him since. I've seen him on YouTube. But yeah, I did do a bit of time with JDP. But yeah, I'll tell you what they should do. They should get him and Sheriff and just let them pretend to fight each other all the time. Speaking of Sheriff, Jesus, man. Scotty G. Who does he think he is? I saw a video of him the other day, and he was talking about, Scotty G here. It must be killing you, not knowing where I am. No one gives a fuck, mate, unless you're at Cockerell's house. I mean, that'll be somewhat entertaining, but other than that, nobody cares about you, mate. Nobody cares about your new tracksuits, and nobody cares about your bloated sheriff, mate, who's just disgusting. But the whole Scotty G wave is over now, so it'll be interesting to see where they go now, you know, see what sort of stuff what sort of content they do now. But yeah, that's really it for the dark side of YouTube. I think JDP's in line to be the next Danny G, you know, without the personality, because he's always saying he's going to fight everyone. He's always saying that he's big. And I saw a video with JDP, a prison video, and my God, it was so cringe. It was funny though. He was talking about when he got to prison, he got in his cell and there was no TV there. but JDP's like a top G, so he had a load of drugs on him, and he says, "Oh, I'll give you some drugs if you get me a TV." But he says 3 black guys came to tax him instead, and he says he steamed into him, punched one of them as hard as he could, and then he picked the telly up and smashed it over his head. I was like, "Well, you said you didn't have a telly, so you're lying, aren't you?" That never happened. Well, yeah, JDP, the hardest man on YouTube that's never actually had a fight. So he is in line to be the new Danny G. Without the personality, without the charisma, without the banter. He calls himself JDP Banter, and he has got no banter at all. I've never once heard him say a funny joke, and his stories are only funny because they're like ridiculous and lies. But anyway, talking about lies, let's talk about the taxman. Now, people talk about Christmas movies, Die Hard, Home Alone, but we all know that the real Christmas movie is The Taxman. The documentary is brilliant. I think it should have won an award, or maybe got a Grammy for best new up and coming tongue. But anyway, Brian never lets the truth get in the way of a good story. So these are all things. And someone said to me, they says, "Oh, be careful what you say about Brian. He'll send someone to your house." Well, I'm not saying out about him. I'm just calling him out on things that he said. So he can't be mad at me. If he's mad at anyone, he should be mad at himself. But yeah, these are all things what Brian said over the years. So we're going to play a little game. Is it true or is it false? Let me know in the comments. Number 1. He's had over 1,000 bare knuckle fights and never lost. Is that even possible? I don't think it is. I mean, look at Danny Christie. He's had like 5 bare knuckle fights and he's aged 20 years. I mean, he's turned into a right arrogant person. I don't know how people can watch him. He just oozes arrogance. But yeah, he's had, and he's aged like 20 years. So he's only had 5 bare knuckle fights and he's lost 3. So imagine after 1,000. So yeah, I don't think he's had 1,000 bare knuckle fights. He'd look like Sloth from the Goon. Well, he's not far off. He has got a genius level IQ. It don't take a genius to know that he hasn't got a genius level IQ. So I call false on that one. The police could never catch him because he is a registered F1 rally driver. Yeah, I don't believe that one. He has adopted over 50 kids and saved 47 lives in 1 year. He might have, I don't think he's adopted 50 kids. He might have took 50 kids in and showed them how to do a few press-ups. And apparently he keeps count on how many lives he's saved. Who knows? Maybe he has. So I don't know on that one. Undecided. The police classed his hands as deadly weapons. They didn't know, did they? That's just an old cliche what people used to say, which is bullshit. Like, kind of like going on a visit. When you sat on a visit, people used to go like that because they said that the cameras were reading the lips. It's like, you're just a local thug, you're not. Saddam Hussein, every time Brian gets arrested, they send the SAS. And he knows this because they've all got Irish accents. Again, you're just a local thug, you're not Saddam Hussein. He was in line to wrestle with the Bulldogs. Well, I mean, it could have happened. I could have wrestled with the Bulldogs. It's highly unlikely, but who knows? He was offered £100,000 to grass on a certain individual. The coppers offered him 100 grand to grass on someone. I don't believe that's true. I mean, it could be, but I can't see the police saying, "Oh, yeah, Bri, here's 100 grand, just stick him in." Yeah, I don't believe that one. He's top 5 hardest in the world. Now, I remember when he said that, he was talking about, I think he was talking about depression or something like that, and he said, "Come on, Brian, get up, get your sense together, you're top 5 hardest in the world." Definitely not. That is definitely false. Maybe in his own mind, but there's a lot of people in the world, and there's a lot of, I mean, I don't even think he'd beat Nate Diaz or someone like that, because he'd just twist him up and choke him out. But then the last one, he's a registered carer. Maybe he is, I don't know, he could have done an online course or something, who knows. But yeah, let me know Is he lying or is he telling the truth? But anyway, that's the video for today. That's the Darkside Roundup. If you like this video, press the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, nerf that pop.